On the other side of the country, where the man accused of starting one of the most destructive fires in California history appears in front of a judge also today. We know the Palisades Fire killed 12 people, destroyed thousands of homes all across those neighborhoods of Los Angeles. It happened January of last year. So let's talk about this. CBS News correspondent Carter Evans continues coverage in Los Angeles. Carter, we remember all of your reporting there from so many burned out neighborhoods, not the least of which your own neighborhood. So what's happening in court today for Jonathan Rinderknecht?
So this is basically a hearing to determine what evidence the judge will allow in court. There is a lot of circumstantial evidence at this point. So prosecutors basically have geolocation data, 911 calls that Rinderknecht made, lighter evidence. They say they found a lighter in his car with his DNA that they say he admitted to bringing with him on the trail. They also say he later threatened to burn down his sister's house, indicating some sort of fascination with fire. The defense is going to say there is no direct evidence that he did this at all. There's no eyewitness. There's no surveillance video. There were no accelerants like gasoline found. There is no confession, and there is no precise ignition point for this fire. They're also going to argue that this fire, the Palisades Fire, started because of a failure to extinguish the blaze that Rinderknecht is accused of lighting. See, this first blaze that he's accused of started on January 1st, and it was on state property. There is another lawsuit, and full disclosure, I'm a plaintiff in this lawsuit, so I've been following it very closely here. But basically, it says there were modified firefighting techniques required on state property. The state parks office took control of that fire and declared it out while it was still burning, while they still had 911 calls coming in saying that there was smoke, and that's why it reignited and started the Palisades Fire. So that is going to enter into this case against Rinderknecht as well as his defense.
A lot of people wanting to know just what was in his head and what motivated him. And you have some reporting that prosecutors say he was fixated on Luigi Mangione, of course, the man who's accused of gunning down that UnitedHealthcare CEO in New York. Explain that connection in his mind.
Right. So what prosecutors are going to try and do here is show that he admired Luigi Mangione as a kind of anti-rich vigilante. They're going to point to internet searches he did, basically looking for free Luigi. There were some Reddit searches that he did on Let's Kill Billionaires. The prosecution essentially wants to use Mangione to argue that Rinderknecht had an ideological grievance against wealthy people. The defense is going to say this is prejudicial. It may make jurors dislike Rinderknecht, not necessarily prove he lit the fire. So here's what the judge has to decide. Does this information, does it prove motive or intent more than it risks poisoning the jury? The judge is going to have to think very hard about that, because this is a lot of information that the prosecution wants to bring into the case, because they believe it sets up the circumstances that created the situation where they say Rinderknecht lit this first fire.
So much pain caused from just one fire and one spark. Carter Evans chasing it all the way through. Thank you so much.